Hello, can everyone hear me okay? Okay. I'm Molly Bullock. I'm an independent investigative journalist and just want to share for a few minutes about a series that I've been working on for about 3.5 years about the Arkansas River. My editor, Michael Mason, was invited by some of the concerned residents here today to a meeting in 2020 about the Zink Dam being rebuilt in the river right out in front of Gathering Place. And at the time, I don't think Michael or I knew really anything about dams or levees or anything like that, but he came back from the meeting and asked if I would be interested in writing about Zink Dam. And that was in the summer of 2020. And over the next 6 months or so, as I began investigating the project, I realized that it's really impossible to gain a meaningful understanding of any one thing happening along the river without zooming out and getting a much broader and deeper understanding. And one of the most shocking things that I discovered over the next few years of research was the status of the levees in Tulsa. And so just by a show of hands, how many of you are aware of the Tulsa West Tulsa levee system or where the levees are located? I see a few watershed readers here. Thank you. Okay. So we have 3 levees, 2 in Sand Springs and 1 across, or 2 in like west of downtown on this side of the river and 1 on the other side of the river around the 2 refineries that are each more than 100 years old. And the levees received a failing grade in like 2007 and still haven't been repaired. And behind our failing levees, we have hundreds of acres of refining and chemical hazards in the Arkansas River floodplain. And this situation stuck out to me as sort of the bigger story that is the context for the Zink Dam being rebuilt. And so I researched all of this over about 3 years and then began releasing articles on Substack. The series is called Watershed, and anyone can subscribe for free at mollybullock.substack.com. It should be really easy to find if you just Google my name and Watershed, or if you go directly to the link. But the information is free for everyone, and it's deeply researched and fact-checked. And I've spent a ton of time trying to see this bigger picture that I'm describing. I mentioned that the levees really stood out to me as the biggest aspect of the story, that it was like the most urgent public safety issue related to the river in Tulsa. And that is because the Corps of Engineers conducted a study of the levees starting in 2018 and decided on a few repairs to the levee system, and then we got funding for those repairs. And over the past few years, when that funding came through, it's federal funding that will have a local match component, but public officials in Tulsa announced the levee funding as this hugely positive news, unequivocally saying things like the levee system will be fully functional for years to come and protect our children and our children's children. And if you read the levee study, which most people obviously don't have a ton of time to do that, it's a long technical engineering document, but the Corps, the repairs that the Corps has planned for the levees are much more limited than what you might expect. We are not raising the height of the levees on this side of the river. levees A and B, and we are not repairing levee C, which again is the levee that should be protecting our active refineries. And this series, this all sounds like probably kind of technical and like, why are you telling us about this? But it's like the series contextualizes all of this in a way that is meant to be, it's one article at a time. I've released 7 articles so far, and my goal was just to make each article like highly readable, and even if you just jump in for one article, you can walk away with a meaningful understanding. And this information is it's information that really everyone in Tulsa needs to know, because if the levees fail, which I think there's a very high likelihood that they will before any significant repairs might occur, due to the magnitude of the flood risk along the Arkansas River. If they fail, there's a lot of potential for refining contaminants and hazardous chemicals to be spilled or released over a wide area that would affect many areas of Tulsa and downstream, not just the communities directly behind the levees. So, and while we wait for that to happen, the City of Tulsa has invested many millions of dollars on what you would call cosmetic river development, meaning it's not necessary development, and the projects like the Zink Dam being rebuilt, there aren't really the benefits that you might expect. We've got huge water quality issues and a lot of other problems. For instance, the Arkansas River is a prairie stream ecosystem, which depends on long distances of unobstructed flowing habitat for our native species to be able to survive and reproduce. And dams fragment the habitat and are also being removed in communities around the world, because we know that dams do more harm than good in almost every case. So that's where a lot of the attention is right now, with like the city's public messaging about the Arkansas River. You've probably heard about the whitewater recreation flume that's going to open with Zink Dam over Labor Day. All of this entire series contextualizes all of these things in a way that makes it hopefully accessible for anyone to understand. And so anyway, thank you for your time. Again, the series is available for free at mollybullock.substack.com. And if you have questions, come find me. I'll be around for a little bit. And yeah, you can also find me on Facebook, or I'm around. I'm not too hard to find. So anyway, thank you. And I hope you'll take a look at Watershed. Bye.